Welcome to Supernova. In today's episode, where we delve into the fascinating world of logical thinking and explore the art of reasoning. Logical thinking is a fundamental skill that helps us make sense of the world, evaluate arguments, and draw well-founded conclusions. In this episode, we will uncover the secrets of mastering logical thinking skills and how they can enhance our decision-making and problem-solving abilities. So, let's embark on this journey of logical reasoning together. Part 1. Understanding logical thinking. Logical thinking is the ability to reason systematically and coherently, making connections between ideas and drawing valid inferences. It involves analyzing information, identifying patterns, and applying rules of logic to evaluate arguments and propositions. By honing our logical thinking skills, we can navigate complex situations with clarity and make sound judgments. One key aspect of logical thinking is recognizing and avoiding fallacies. Fallacies are errors in reasoning that can lead us astray and result in faulty conclusions. Understanding different types of fallacies equips us with the tools to identify flawed arguments and critically evaluate information. Logical thinking is a valuable skill that allows us to reason, analyze information, and draw valid conclusions. Here are some key steps to help you understand and develop your logical thinking abilities. Recognize the importance of logic. Understand that logic is the foundation of rational thinking and effective decision-making. It enables us to evaluate arguments, identify fallacies, and make sound judgments based on evidence and reasoning. Grasp the basics of logic. Familiarize yourself with the fundamental principles of logic, such as the laws of logic, e.g., the law of non-contradiction. Logical operators, e.g., and, or, not, and logical relationships, e.g., implication, equivalence. These concepts form the building blocks of logical thinking. Identify arguments. Learn to identify arguments in everyday discourse. An argument consists of one or more premises, statements that provide evidence or reasons, and a conclusion, the claim being made. Practice extracting arguments from written texts, speeches, or conversations to strengthen your ability to recognize and analyze them. Evaluate arguments. Develop the skill of critically evaluating arguments. Assess the validity of an argument by examining the logical connections between the premises and the conclusion. Consider whether the premises support the conclusion and whether the reasoning is free from fallacies. Recognize logical fallacies. Study common logical fallacies, which are errors in reasoning that can deceive or weaken arguments. Examples include ad hominem attacks, strawman arguments, and false dichotomies. Being able to identify fallacies helps you spot flawed reasoning and strengthen your own logical thinking. Practice deductive and inductive reasoning. Understand the distinction between deductive and inductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning involves drawing specific conclusions from general principles, while inductive reasoning involves inferring general principles from specific observations. Practice applying both types of reasoning to different scenarios to improve your logical thinking skills. Seek feedback and engage in discussions. Engage in conversations or debates where logical thinking is valued. Seek feedback from others who have expertise in logical reasoning. Discuss and analyze arguments together, challenging each other's perspectives and refining your own reasoning abilities. Apply logic in problem solving. Use logical thinking to approach problem-solving tasks. Break down complex problems into smaller, manageable parts. Identify the underlying assumptions, and evaluate the logical connections between the information and the desired solution. This approach can enhance your ability to solve problems systematically and effectively. Remember, mastering logical thinking takes practice and continuous refinement. By actively engaging with logical principles, critically evaluating arguments, and applying logical reasoning in various contexts, you can sharpen your logical thinking skills and become a more effective and rational thinker. Part 2. Elements of logical thinking. Logical thinking comprises several essential elements that contribute to its effectiveness. These elements include premises and conclusions. In logical thinking, an argument is composed of premises and a conclusion. Premises are statements or pieces of evidence provided to support the conclusion, which is the main claim being made. Understanding the relationship between the premises and the conclusion is crucial for evaluating the validity and strength of an argument. Logical operators. Logical operators are tools that help us establish connections between statements. Common logical operators include and, or, and, not. For example, using and indicates that both statements must be true for the overall statement to be true. Familiarize yourself with these operators to better analyze and construct logical statements. Deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning involves drawing specific conclusions from general principles or premises. It follows a top-down approach, moving from the general to the specific. Deductive reasoning allows us to derive logical conclusions that are necessarily true if the premises are true. This type of reasoning is often associated with syllogisms and mathematical proofs. Inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning involves inferring general principles or patterns based on specific observations or evidence. It follows a bottom-up approach, moving from specific instances to general conclusions. Inductive reasoning allows us to make probable conclusions that are based on patterns, trends, or past experiences. However, it is important to note that inductive reasoning is not always guaranteed to be correct, as new evidence may change our conclusions. Logical forms. Logical forms refer to the structure or pattern of an argument. Recognizing different logical forms helps us assess the validity and soundness of arguments. Common logical forms include modus ponens, if A, then B, A, therefore B, and modus tollens, if A, then B, not B, therefore not A. By understanding these forms, we can evaluate arguments more effectively and identify patterns of reasoning. Validity and soundness. Validity and soundness are important concepts in logical thinking. A valid argument is one in which the conclusion logically follows from the premises. In other words, if the premises are true, the conclusion must also be true. Soundness goes a step further and requires both validity and true premises. A sound argument is one in which the conclusion is both logically valid and based on true premises. By understanding and applying these elements of logical thinking, we can analyze arguments more effectively, identify logical connections, and make well-reasoned conclusions. Developing proficiency in deductive and inductive reasoning, recognizing logical forms, and assessing the validity and soundness of arguments will enhance our logical thinking abilities and empower us to think more critically and analytically. Part 3. Strategies for mastering logical thinking. To enhance your logical thinking skills and become a more effective critical thinker, it's essential to employ strategies that foster logical reasoning and analysis. Here are some strategies to help you master logical thinking. Practice critical thinking. Engage in activities that promote critical thinking, such as solving puzzles, riddles, or logical reasoning exercises. These activities challenge your mind to think analytically, identify patterns, and make logical connections. Regular practice improves your ability to apply logical thinking in various situations. Analyze and evaluate arguments. Develop the habit of critically evaluating arguments encountered in daily life. Identify the premises, assess their validity, and determine whether the reasoning is logical and free from fallacies. Examine the strength of the evidence presented and the overall coherence of the argument. Engage in debates or discussions where you can actively analyze and evaluate different viewpoints. Study logical fallacies. Familiarize yourself with common logical fallacies. Fallacies are flaws in reasoning that can weaken an argument. By learning to recognize fallacies such as ad hominem attacks, strawman arguments, or false analogies, you can identify weak arguments and avoid being misled by faulty reasoning. Enhance problem-solving skills. Logical thinking is closely tied to problem-solving. Improve your problem-solving abilities by breaking down complex problems into smaller, manageable parts. Identify the underlying assumptions and evaluate the logical connections between the information provided and the desired solution. Applying logical thinking in problem-solving enables you to approach challenges with clarity and efficiency. Develop clear and coherent communication. Logical thinking extends to effective communication. Strive to express your thoughts and ideas clearly, providing logical reasoning and supporting evidence. Practice organizing your arguments in a coherent manner, using logical transitions between ideas. By developing strong communication skills, you can effectively convey your logical thinking to others. Seek different perspectives. Engage in discussions with individuals who possess diverse perspectives and backgrounds. This exposure to different viewpoints challenges your own thinking and expands your ability to consider alternative perspectives. It also helps you recognize biases and assumptions that may impact your logical thinking. Reflect and learn from mistakes. Embrace mistakes as learning opportunities. When you encounter errors in your logical thinking or reasoning, take the time to reflect on them. Identify the underlying causes and seek to understand how you could improve your logical thinking process. Learning from your mistakes strengthens your ability to apply logical thinking effectively. Engage in continuous learning. Logical thinking is a skill that can be continually developed and refined. Stay curious and seek opportunities for ongoing learning and intellectual growth. Explore resources such as books, online courses, or workshops that delve deeper into logical thinking, reasoning, and critical analysis. By implementing these strategies into your daily life, you can nurture and strengthen your logical thinking abilities. With practice, you will become adept at analyzing arguments, identifying fallacies, and making well-founded conclusions. Logical thinking becomes a powerful tool for navigating complex situations, making informed decisions, and engaging with the world in a thoughtful and rational manner. Congratulations! You have embarked on a journey to master the art of reasoning and enhance your logical thinking skills. By understanding the principles of logical thinking, recognizing fallacies, and applying strategies for mastery, you have equipped yourself with a valuable tool for making informed decisions, solving problems, and engaging critically with the world around you. Remember, logical thinking is not just a skill. It is an ongoing practice that requires patience, curiosity, and a willingness to question assumptions. As you continue to nurture your logical thinking abilities, you will develop a sharper intellect, a more discerning mind, and the confidence to navigate the complexities of life. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for more video like this. We will see you in another one.